I'm going to explain about the basic functioning of the chill water central air conditioning plant. First, I have taken chillers in the chill water pumps, condenser water pumps, and then cooling tower. This is IWD central AC plant of capacity 2000 tons. This is the basic scheme of central air conditioning system. The entire central AC system consists of two parts. One is the high side, the other one is the low side. The high side equipments are installed in the central air conditioning plant and comprises chillers, chill water pumps, condenser water pumps, cooling towers, softener plant, etc. The low side equipments consists of air handling units, ducting, diffusers, valves, and grills and dampers. You can see this high side equipments. There are three cycles: two water cycle, one refrigerant cycle. The first water cycle is from evaporator to the air handling units, and the second water cycle is from condenser of the chiller to the cooling tower through pumping, and refrigeration cycle is from compressor to condenser and through expansion valve to the chiller to the evaporator of the chiller. This is inside view of the central air conditioning plant. We are seeing here chillers. Basically, these are screw type chillers. We are seeing electrical panels and complete network of piping along with their walls and associated controls. The blue colored pipes, they are for the chilled water supply and return headers inside the plant. The green colored pipe is of condenser water supply and return, which is going to cooling tower. The chiller consists of two cells. One is the condenser cell, the other one is the evaporator cell. The evaporator cell is insulated with closed cell nitrile insulation because in the evaporator cell the water is cooled up to the temperature of 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. The water chilled at temperature of 6 to 8 degrees Celsius in the chiller is running through the supply piping system of chilled water grid inside the academic area to all the buildings which has been covered with the central air conditioning, and this chilled water supply is connected to the air handling units and fan coil units, and after taking heat from the air conditioned spaces, the chilled water temperature raises to 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. That is, it returns back to the chiller again through chill water pumping system, and it operates in a closed loop. So the return chill water is around 11 to 12 degrees Celsius. This 11 to 12 degree water is again chilled at 6 to 7 degree through the chillers, and then again supplying the entire academic area, and in this way it is providing central air conditioning to the system. Now we will go to the various parts of the chiller. At the top of the chiller there is a control panel, and at the evaporator's terminal there is a in and out connections. There are some pressure differential switches, pressure sensors, and the chill water supply system consists of the butterfly valve. The return is connected with the NRV, non-returning valve. Similarly, at the out of the condenser of the chiller there is a balancing valve. As you're seeing, there is a big rotating handle valve, that is a balancing valve, which is installed to exactly allow the flow of only 400 TRs of water. So corresponding to 400 TR, there is a flow rate requirement of 960 GPM of water. As we have considered, the system have been designed on 2.4 GPM per tons of cooling. There are two red color pressure differential switches. They are used for protection of the compressor, because compressor should not start unless and until the system senses the flow across the evaporator and condenser. This is the condenser of the chiller, and as the first circuit of the water was closed circuit, and the second water circuit through this condenser to cooling tower and then to condenser water pump is open cycle. The third is the refrigeration circuit. The main parts of the refrigeration circuit are compressor, discharge line, suction line, oil separator, oil sump, high pressure relief valve installed at the condenser, low pressure relief valve installed at the evaporator side, then gas pump, liquid level sensor, and then electronic expansion valve. The chiller consists of various service valves with facility for refrigerant isolation valve options, and there are pressure gauges, hot air filter is there, and high pressure cutout switches are there which senses the high pressure and gives command to the chiller for protection of the compressor and for tripping the machine. There is also this is the expansion valve, electronic expansion valve. These screw chillers are with refrigerant R134A refrigerant, which is HFC class A1 classification refrigerant, and they works on the positive pressure, and they have good efficiency, and the IKW per TR is near about 0.7 for these screw type chillers of capacity 400 TR. IKW per TR means electrical power requirement for per tons of refrigeration produced by the machine is 0.7. These chillers are AHRI certified. AHRI is basically American Heating and Refrigeration Institute, and they have their own standard to certify and test the chillers. So this is just international standard based on which all standard manufacturing companies are providing their chillers. As we move now ahead, we see there is a high pressure alarm switch, low pressure alarm switch. This is a liquid level sensor indicator installed at the bottom of the evaporator. Basically, these are the service valves and sensors which are required for protection of the chiller in case of high pressure across the condenser in the refrigeration circuit, or the low pressure because of the leakage in the evaporator circuit. These sensors senses and gives command to the control panel, and control panel immediately trips the compressor and trips the machine for protection. As we see, we require some space behind the evaporator and condenser cell for descaling of the machines, because over the time scales are formed inside the condenser shells, because this carries hot water to the condenser cycle, and if these scales are not removed, or this chiller is not descaled over a regular interval of time, the efficiency of the or the heat exchange rate through the chiller decreases, and there may be a high pressure alarm across the chiller, and that's why we require at least 3.2 meter behind the chiller, each chiller. See, this is a piping network. As we are seeing, there is a header which is there are two pipelines. One is going for supply of the chill water, and another one is returning from the air tube and through primary pumping, and this is the header of the chill water. This is the entire network of the chill water header and the condenser water header, chill water pumping connections, condenser water pumping connections, electrical connections from the top of the AC plant to the motors. And as we see, these are the stainers. Stainers are installed before at the suction of the pump, because this traps any kind of dust any kind of particles which arrives in the chill water or in the condenser cycle. Now I'll show the electrical control panel. What are the parameters that we are seeing on the electrical control panel? The control panel of the chiller have facility for setting up the various parameters: evaporator, condenser, compressor, motor. The entire control panel shows the running status of the compressor and provides the real-time data through the sensors. And with the help of the control panel, chill water set point can be set. Generally, for temperature setting, it has criteria for selection in degree Fahrenheit or degree Celsius both. So we can easily see it provides the chill water set point, percent speed of the compressor, active current limit set point, average line current drawn by the compressor at any point of time, evaporator entering and leaving water temperature, condenser entering and leaving water temperature. After the unit has operated for approximately 30 minutes and the system has stabilized, we have to check the operating conditions and complete the logbook data. Like, the operator has to go for the log of the chiller. They have to check the evaporator and condenser pressures with gauges and compare to the reading on the clear language display. Pressure reading should fall within the allowed ranges in the operating conditions. The operating conditions at full load for these chillers are as: evaporator pressure must be between 1.8 to 2.7 bar, condensing pressure shall be between 8 to 8.5 bar, discharge superheat shall be 10 degrees Celsius, subcooling shall be between 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, electronic expansion valve percent opening shall be 40 to 50% open in auto mode. The control panel has facility to create the logs in presentable form in the form of graphs or the bar chart. This is very nice feature in this controller. This helps in future planning and plant room extension corresponding to the requirement of central air conditioning loads in future. Thank you.